evening. This is the SOAR Commissioners meeting for 22 July. And our first activity is to go around the room, introduce ourselves for the TV audience. Corey?
Corey White, Sewer Superintendent.
Keith Campton, Assistant Sewer Foreman.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Dave Pierce, Commissioner.
Daniel Taylor, Commissioner.
Michael Trent, Consulting Engineer.
Jim Craig, Select Board Rep.
Thank you. And the first item we typically do is if there's anybody here that's not on the agenda that wants to have public comment, now's your opportunity. I see no one in the audience for public comments, so public comments closed. And we're going to move on to the minutes of our previous meeting. Oh, well, two sets of minutes. And we'll take the first one on 8th of April.
Motion to approve is presented.
I'll second the motion.
No further discussion necessary. How do you vote on 8 April minutes?
Yay.
Yay.
Aye, yay. And then we have the 13 May minutes.
I don't think you were here for that meeting, right?
I was absent that night.
Yeah, so he can't.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th meeting as presented.
I can second it.
yep. Any discussion necessary on those minutes Lynn prepared? Okay. Call for the vote. 13 May minutes.
Yay.
Yeah, yes.
I'll say so.
Abstain, not present.
As new business, I'll invite Nick up to the table and discuss Surflow from the new athletic complex, St. Anselm's College.
All right, good evening, folks.
And yes, Nick, we do have a memo from you on the Surflow too.
Excellent. All right, let me introduce myself. My name is Nick Goldman. I'm a licensed engineer and principal with TF Moran. Seated to my right, Mr. Ari Pollock, attorney, and Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan, he's always here. Jonathan Woodcock, the director of the physical plant for St. A's. We're asked to attend your meeting this evening to discuss the proposed athletic complex located in Bedford, New Hampshire, with several of our utilities as well as our access coming through Goffstown. What we had provided, as was alluded to by the chairman, is our DES sewer connection permit application and our calculations. Noting that we have taken an extremely conservative approach, which generates a fairly large number of 2,456 gallons per day. The manner in which this number was generated is that we evaluated the expectation for participants as well as our spectators on what would be considered the largest event, which would be an outdoor track meet that would take place at the complex. I believe there is currently a sewer agreement that the town of Goffstown has with St. A's. We thought it pertinent to bring this information to light and see if there was anything further that would be required from you at this time.
That 2,456 gallons per day, that is for a very maximum attended event. But then you say that that event might occur at the most 8 times a year?
That is correct, sir.
So if I
Extrapolate that over
if I
time.
do the average per real day,
Yeah.
not 8 times per, that works out to, geez, a very low number of average per day. Which,
Nick, could you tell us what your number is, rather than the chairman give it to you?
Sure, I can reiterate. That total proposed gallons per day is 2,456, which again is based off of the participants and spectators, and as noted would be at one of the larger events for the track and field event.
So we're looking for a number from you that would, we're not gonna ask you for 2456 times 365 days. We're looking for you to give us a number that is a best guess estimate, obviously, for what you would pare it down to based on the number of events that you may think you're going to have there.
Okay. Relative to the proceedings tonight, we hadn't necessarily intended to come in and say, here's the number. This
Well,
was
you
more
can
of an
provide-
informational session.
You can
Um,
provide at a later date.
Okay. That is appreciated, but understood that that is what the Sewer Commission is looking for, and we'll provide that.
And do you know why we're asking you for this? Because we have to, when we redo our agreement with you folks in 4 years, we'd like to have something to base an increase for your sewer flow on, because we did state that your sewer flow will increase, and so will your costs when that goes on in 4 years.
Yep, no, I had a chance to look back on some of the meeting minutes that you had before, and I think it was spelled out clearly what the expectations were, and the college would abide by that.
And so will we by our agreement.
So,
That's why agreements are great. It's on paper.
You don't have to worry.
so, for my fellow commissioners, if, based on what Nick has said, that there'll be perhaps 8 events a year, which will result in 2,400 something gallons during those event days, that averages out to roughly 50 gallons a day, each day over the whole year, which is, to us, when you divide that by 450, it's like 1/10 of our treatment unit, which is very negligible.
Well, I'd be curious to understand how you come up with that math, because they say that they're going to have 10 major events, but what if they have 150 minor events where the thing gets used? I'm not willing to lock into any number like that. So that's why I've asked Nick to come up with a number for us.
Certainly.
So, okay, Nick, you provided information about the occurrence of some major events. Any comments on more frequent but small events?
I think the reality is, and I think Ari's going to jump in and save me here possibly as well, is that when we think about the participants that are attending a minor event, they're already on campus. So whether they're using this bathroom or a bathroom elsewhere on campus, they're already there. But to the point in the request, we'll make sure we provide something in writing that clarifies that.
Well, I think it's clear that we discussed this prior to us signing an agreement with you, and we said we'd hold off on any decisions until the 4-year agreement expired. So we're looking for a baseline. We can obviously look at the total flows. We have a metering pit, and we can see what happens.
Fair enough.
There's also this discussion of an accessibility fee. Now, when I read the Bedford planning minutes, they talked about accessibility fee, but they didn't say which town it was payable to, so I'm hoping that you can either dig to the bottom of that, or our chairman of our commission here is going to dig it up himself. But somewhere we need to just find out who's getting the accessibility fee. Because in my mind, it should be us. Because the only way it goes back to them, if I remember the minutes correct, is if you build another facility or expand, then you have to bring the sewer line up the hill.
Correct. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we put this whole discussion on hold because we were nothing more than an applicant for a project at the time. Our multi-year agreement was being negotiated and then signed. Now we have something to talk about, so of course we're back with the conditional approval from the town of Bedford where the project is located. And they've put a condition on that says, figure out where this waste is going and make sure that Goffstown will accept it. So here we are, and it sounds like you're willing, and we thank you. Having said all of that, there is a triggering event in the conditions of approval that would essentially cause us to tie into Bedford's evolving system. Those are into the future. Maybe they happen, maybe they don't. For the foreseeable future, when we build this and open this facility, we appreciate and want to tie into the Goffstown system and, of course, pay for our usage. And in my view, that comes with whatever access fee is typically charged by Goffstown to allow a new user to link into the system, and we'll be on the hook for that as well.
Great.
If I could say one more thing, I think what the chairman was alluding to was some sort of a framework or a letter or a document that we could produce for this facility that would not require a full amendment of our other agreement. It would be a standalone, just as if somebody was bringing a home or a building online. What we can do tonight maybe is talk about the framework, but we'll need to come back to you with a document that just breaks down, yeah, we've got these higher load events that happen, whatever they are, 8-10 times a year. But then we've also got typical practices, we've got some smaller events, we've got, you know, some summer camp type stuff. And so we'll come up with a projection for you of what the annual load will look like, and then we can bake it down to monthly and come up with our gallons per day estimate, which will drive our treatment units and our expense.
Yeah. At this point, we need to have just a rough idea of those gallons per day and some average number, so that we can comfortably say that increased flow that we provide to the Manchester treatment plant doesn't exceed our allowable capacity.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it conservative, we're gonna make sure that our estimates are higher than what we really think will go in the pipe, and then time will tell.
So that's the,
In the pipe.
that's our major,
In the pipe.
that's our major event when we look at, say, yes, you may connect to our source system. We look at, are we approaching a critical threshold of too much flow going to Manchester?
No one wants that.
And we have quite a sufficient reserve capacity, so
Excellent.
I'm sure my fellow commissioners will agree that we're nowhere near approaching that threshold. But in 4 years, the college will provide new numbers of staff, employees. You'll provide a revised number of students attending college.
Yes.
And based on those numbers, on our standing agreement, we will consider whether to raise the treatment unit or it remains the same. If we were to document 4 years from now that, hey, there's 10 more treatment units that we would like to bill you for, that documentation of all that there's 10 more units, that then becomes a point where we would bill for an accessibility fee. Under our agreement, there's no change in the treatment unit for the next 4 years, so there's no change in accessibility fee. That would only occur, in my understanding, with our agreement, if we change the treatment unit numbers.
Sounds good.
And you have the next 3 years to compile the number of events and come up with some kind of a baseline for us.
And built the place.
That's it.
But regarding the question of, you've already been before this commission to ask for permission to tie in prior, haven't you?
Yes.
Oh,
That's right.
okay.
Yeah, because Corey stated there was sufficient capacity for the facility.
Sure,
I think
I'm
it
sure
dates
there are.
back to April of last year.
Yes.
Okay, super.
And you appeared before the planning board for a conditional use permit, was it, Nick?
It was actually for site plan approval, but it was specific to the elements of Little Goffstown, that being utilities and access.
Had to be hooked up through the town, and you got permission from planning at the same time.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I think that, I don't know if the other commissioners concur, but I don't think this is an emergency document that you have to prepare. This needs to be thought out and submitted for discussion purposes 4 years from now. And then you'll submit subsequent documents of actual figures, and we'll just go from there. But the billing doesn't change in the next 3 years, right? Has it been a year already? Anybody know?
Well,
We signed the
3.5.
agreement in February.
Get ahead
All
of
right, so
yourself.
it's not quite it. No, I just trying to figure out how many years. We keep saying 4 years. I didn't know if it was actually 3 or not.
4 years from the date of signature. We just,
Yes.
There you
we got to cover it.
Okay, so, I mean, we needed to do two things, right? We needed to come up with a plan with this group as to how this facility will tie in. Thank you very much, I've got it. We'll provide our estimates when we can think it through. And second, we needed to demonstrate to Bedford that we were here.
Okay.
And that this discussion occurred. We'll have your minutes, of course. Is there anything else that you would like us to deliver to Bedford to show them that we had this discussion?
Well, Bedford, of the many conditions in the conditional approval made by Bedford, there's 3 of them specifically says, Gulf Sound Sewer Department, do something. So, I need to have a discussion with my fellow commissioners on what our response would be back to the Bedford Planning Board on those 3 conditions. And that would essentially provide all the information we need for the immediate
But,
timeframe.
but to the applicant's question, we've already granted them permission to access our system via the planning board and via the prior meeting. They've demonstrated it, so if they're looking for a letter from this department that says that we have officially decided that we will accept the wastewater, is that a statement that goes beyond tonight's meeting for further discussion?
Well, they're asking for a letter that specifically addresses.
Yes, Bedford Planning Board is asking
Bedford
for
Planning.
documentation on 3 conditions. We've already stated number 1 condition was, do we accept the flow? The answer is yes, and in a letter that I've drafted for the Commissioner's review, that's, the answer was yes, based upon an existing agreement. We accept the flow, because we're not gonna look at any revised annual billing until February of 4 years from now. The second condition was, do we need to revise an existing Gulfstown Bedford intermunicipal agreement?
Which we don't even have.
Which there is one, so and I don't desire to have an intermunicipal agreement just for this one property.
Is there any, is it required by state law? If we accept wastewater
Do we
outside
have-
of our boundary?
What is our intermunicipal agreement with Bedford, Dave?
There is none, so the issue is mute. And in the proposed letter I've drafted, I've simply said that the issue is mute.
The letter's in your packet.
And
Okay.
the third condition was, what you brought up, Tim, was on the accessibility fee. Per the existing agreement, my answer back to Bedford that I proposed is that any accessibility fee from Gulfstown doesn't, I can't, the correct word is, it doesn't impair, and it doesn't, behold, our accessibility is no condition upon an accessibility fee. We won't even look at an accessibility fee until 4 years from now.
That all sounds fine to me. I just need something to show the town of Bedford that we had these discussions and that when the facility is ready to be opened, you have agreed to accept the waste that it generates.
There's a draft letter on our packet tonight that the chairman has prepared for us to look at and sign.
But it essentially covers what I've just discussed.
And I'm certain that we're going to agree to move forward. I mean, there's no reason to turn back at this point. So I just think you just have to wait until this meeting is concluded, and the secretary will copy you a copy of the letter that the board is going to forward to the Bedford Planning Board.
That sounds
You could be
great.
copied on the letter.
Perfect.
My draft letter is addressed to Mr. Furlong, Mr. Golan, Mr. Bullock, with, so that's who Bedford had addressed in their letter.
Yeah,
With courtesy copies to Ms. Hebert in Bedford Planning, Brian DeFosse, Bedford Town Engineer for sewer issues, and our Planning Director upstairs, Joanne Duffy.
sounds great. I'll look forward to receiving it, and that's, I think, all we'll need. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.
Have a
Any
good
break?
night.
Have a great night, thank you.
Any breaking ground?
What'd you say? I'm sorry?
When are you breaking ground?
We've got the rest of these conditions to deal with. We also were waiting for the appeal period to run, and I think we can now conclude. It's been 3 or 4 days since that deadline. I think we're in the clear. So, yeah, break ground fall, as soon as we can, says the boss.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you for allowing us to come in.
Good night.
It's the next topic if you want to listen.
I might just do that. I was wondering if
It's the
two
next
items
stop.
or one.
Next topic if you want to hang out.
Next topic is this commission's response to the Bedford Planning Board. And the commissioners have a tentative draft on that subject. Would,
It's the first page.
well, I'm looking at the first page, which I've dated as 22 July. Subject, Bedford Planning Board conditional approval for construction of the athletic complex. And addressed to various people, and leads right off that this letter provides Gulftown Sewer Commission position regarding several conditions listed in the Planning Board approval. Condition 4 was the applicant shall provide a letter that would be from the sewer district, meaning us, indicating approval for the application, essentially the application to accept the sewer flow. And the draft goes on, it says, under the processes which are described in a 2025 agreement between the college and the commission approves the increased sewer flow into the Gulftown sewer system that might occur due to the construction of the proposed athletic complex at Bedford parcel 4262-1. And nevertheless, the Gulftown Sewer Commission reserves the right for our superintendent, our staff, to inspect the laying of sewer lines, for the connection of those lines into the existing campus system.
Add that one part you skipped, located in Bedford. So I'm gonna wonder if that's gonna be,
Yeah,
you might have to work with the Bedford department on that if the lines are actually in Bedford, because for reasons of authority, when the time comes.
yeah.
Thank you.
And that the said work would be conducted by a drain layer properly licensed under our commission or this sewer ordinance of Gulftown.
I think that's good. I think you've covered all the points.
Should,
Daniel?
so technically we approved it before the agreement was signed. The 2025 agreement was signed.
The
Yeah.
agreement we approved in February simply says we're not gonna look at changing.
No, I mean when they came to us last year, in April 2024.
But that got rolled into the 2025 agreement,
Okay.
because we talked about it here at the meeting that we were not going to consider that an increase in flow until subject to the facility was built. And we agreed to let it coast until the end of the 4-year period, so I think it is rolled into the agreement.
Okay. I just didn't know if we wanted like to reference the date where they approached us and asked for our permission.
Well, you could reference the official meeting that we had, the minutes are available.
Right.
Lynn could provide that for Dave if you think that's necessary to add it in.
For the agreement?
No, when they came to our commission here
Oh.
and asked for permission to hook into our system, and we said we had the capacity for them to do it.
Yeah, that.
There, yes, but also per our 4-year agreement, the whole issue is mute. Whatever construction might occur on campus in the next 4 years, which might lead them to have more employees or more students, all that will be resolved in 4 years from now.
But what Daniel is saying is that we specifically answered the question of the applicant. Yes, we have the capacity to hook in on a specific date at a sewer commission meeting prior to the agreement and prior to everything else. And I don't think that's wrong to add that in, because that's public record and it just bolsters the response. And I agree with Daniel, so I'd like to see that added in there, somewhere in your letter response.
So I'm going to add that,
Lynn will have to come up with the
Yeah.
minutes, find the minutes and the
I'm
date.
going to, after, on the first page where the sentence ends on the very last line, referencing the Bedford parcel, it will be a new sentence, Tim. Furthermore, this board reviewed the sewer flow on such and such day and
Yep.
approved it.
Yep.
Thank you. Item 2, what Bedford says, condition number 10. The intermunicipal agreement between Bedford and Gulftown for the sewer service shall be updated and approved by each town to allow that sewer from the field house to enter the sewer system. My drafted response, the need to update an existing intermunicipal agreement is mute, as there is no agreement between the two communities, nor does the Gulftown Sewer Commission desire to establish such an agreement just for the subject application. Then, under the process, under a 2025 college and commission agreement, the commission approves of the increased sewer flow into the sewer system that might occur due to the construction of this Aflac complex.
I had a question about this. Maybe Mike can answer. Do we, by state law, and I think there's a couple chapters that might apply, do we have to have, if we want to accept waste outside of our town borders, do we have to have an intermunicipal agreement, or is it just?
If we have to have one by law, Daniel, then, Mike?
Yeah, it's kind of sketchy. I mean, both Goffstown and Bedford individually have intermunicipal agreements with Manchester, which is where the wastewater ends up ultimately anyway, which makes both Bedford and Goffstown co-permittees with Manchester. This is the primary permittee for their NPDES permit.
Tim,
So you're covered. The question as to whether you would need an intermunicipal agreement between the two towns. I think for this particular situation, it's probably not worth, the effort to do that.
Yeah, my take on this, if the college were to have some massive building that the increased flow would seriously threaten our threshold of our maximum amount going to Manchester, then yes, we would want an intermunicipal agreement so that this increase, instead of being assigned to Gulfstown, would then be assigned, Manchester would assign it that against their limits of an increased flow to the treatment plant. But in this situation, it's going to be less than a treatment unit of flow. It doesn't threaten our threshold.
I would like to know, though, for a fact, if it's a requirement under a state law. Maybe we can find out about that. Because, the reason I say because, is because this is a condition of approval on an approved project. If they don't meet all the conditions of the approval, it has to go back to the board to ask that one of those conditions be removed. And I know we didn't assign the conditions, but if we're not going to be willing to meet that condition, we're going to throw them a curveball for their application with the planning board.
Would it be acceptable if I do the following? I'll visit the treatment plant supervisor in Manchester and ask him that point, that due to this situation of flow coming from Bedford technically into Gulfstown and then into the Manchester treatment, is there a RSA that covers this situation?
That'd be good to know.
And I'll provide a response back to my fellow commissioners on that.
Now, you guys need to consider that condition of approval. Because technically, when the Goffstown Planning Board issues conditions of approval, all conditions have to be met before permits are issued, or, you can actually do your project. So
That's why we.
Bedford may have issued a condition that is unenforceable, which is gonna be, it's in your court, guys.
I appreciate that. I think Bedford is looking for your group to speak to the issue.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna hold us up on it if you don't feel that some
That's fine.
sort of an agreement is necessary to accept the waste, especially if you agree that you will accept it and it's within your capacity.
I just don't wanna take a hard line of stance if it's gonna have a negative effect on your conditions of approval and your approval.
Very much appreciate that, thank you.
So David, I appreciate you doing that, thank you.
So, as it stands right now, the letter is good. It's this issue of an agreement is mute.
Right.
However, if I determine otherwise after I visit the Manchester Treatment
You
Board,
can amend your letter. Right.
I'll certainly have to do an update to this draft.
Okay.
Can I just make a little, I think you're saying it's moot, M-O-O-T, rather than M-U-T-E?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That's-
No,
When you wrote the
Yeah,
word
you
moot,
wrote
you wrote
that.
M-U-T-E, and then the word is actually M-O-O-T, Jim is saying.
I mean, two different things.
Jim went to college, and I quit my sophomore year, so he's smarter than me.
It's the law degree that helps.
When
I'm too much involved with the Lions Club, which provides assistance to those who are hard of hearing. That's why I misspelled it.
All right, so do you have anything else, Daniel, for this
Yes.
particular item?
Yeah, when I was just I'm not a lawyer, but so I don't know how to interpret state statutes necessarily. When I was looking it up, there's statute chapter 31, section 136, which covers intermunicipal agreements, which like allows them to be formed. And then I found out that, so I didn't know if that was like needed to be in place before it could happen. And then I saw that the state just changed chapter 362 to where they added a exception to a law where unless there's an intermunicipal agreement, if you're charging someone outside of your utility district, you can't charge them more than 15% of everybody, of the people that are inside your district. So it seemed like there might be some sort of avenue where it is allowed without an intermunicipal agreement. But I'm not a lawyer, so
You're saying 15%, that would be of your total district?
no, your rate, your sewer rate, or your whatever utility
Comparing the
is.
sewer rates per gallon or whatever from the two different communities.
So,
So that not,
It's not applicable to
Yeah.
our situation, but it just seemed to imply that it might not necessarily,
well, let's,
that there might be instances where you wouldn't need an intermunicipal.
That legislation was intended to encourage towns that could accept waste from outside of their borders to do so, to allow for more development on sewer lines to occur by allowing the receiving town to increase their charges by up to 15%, to essentially get a kicker to receive the waste.
over 15% over what the rest of the residents in the host town are paying.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Oh, so there's a benefit.
Right.
So it doesn't, what you said is correct, it doesn't relate to whether or not intermunicipal agreements are necessary, but it does seem to indicate that they may not be in all circumstances.
Right.
so
Thank you for that
it gives
clarification.
the host town a leg up on the revenue.
Reason to agree.
Okay.
Thank you. Finally, the Bedford Planning Board Condition 21. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the sewer accessibility fee shall be paid. And a draft response to that would be a certificate of occupancy issued by the Bedford upon completion of the construction of the athletic complex on Bedford parcel 4262-1 is not beholden to accessibility fee payable to the town of Goffstown. Under the processes of our 4-year agreement, the Commission has an option to seek an appropriate accessibility fee only when the scheduled renewal of the agreement documents that there's a billable quantity in the increased flow. Once again,
Well, isn't any increase in flow, Corey, isn't any increase in flow considered an increase in flow?
it has to be a treatment unit.
Half, in a commercial stance, it has to be at least half a treatment unit.
Yeah.
And how much is a half a treatment unit?
Half a treatment unit is
225.
$225.
A day?
Yes.
$225 a day. And if you amortize that over a whole year and get a number, then if it exceeds to $225 a day, then we are allowed to charge an accessibility fee? All right, so that's, there you got the information now.
We're good.
Okay. I don't see the problem with that. Do you, Daniel, being worded that way?
I'll provide information on the second condition, whether, what Manchester opinion is on the intermunicipal agreement, and barring that, is there, like to approve this letter this evening?
Mike has.
I do have a comment. Under RSA 149I, which governs both sewage and stormwater disposal, 149I4 addresses contracts for sewage or waste treatment facilities. And what it says is the mayor and aldermen of any city may lease, enter into contracts to provide, sell, or purchase stormwater treatment, conveyance, and discharge systems, and sewage or waste treatment facilities to or from any other city, town, village, district, or person whenever they judge the same necessary for the public convenience, health, and welfare. So I read that as may rather than being a specific legal requirement.
That's why it is may and not is.
And once again, I'll come back to the fact, if this tentative sewer flow were to seriously threaten our limits of flow
Right.
to the Manchester, then certainly we would want to negotiate passing of the buck to Bedford.
Yeah, and any connections to your system, they're already covered under your intermunicipal agreement with Manchester. So Goffstown is a co-permittee, whatever conditions Manchester has to adhere to, you're obligated to adhere to it as well. And as well as the users of the system. But, you know, I agree with you on your point that if it were significant enough that it could substantially impact your allotment to the Manchester treatment system, then I think you would definitely want to be looking at an agreement.
So Corey, I want to back up a minute to the accessibility fee, $225 a day. That is something we are going to assess in 4 years, whether it is $225 you exceed or not. You're going to pay a minimum of one more treatment unit and an accessibility fee for one treatment unit. So it's not going to be something that, even if they documented it by meter flow and it was less than, we do that for a house or any other resident. We don't measure sewer water. We just know that it's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house, has a number assigned to it.
Correct.
And if one person lives there and they send 5 gallons a day,
It's still
and it
treatment.
doesn't come out to the $250 a day, they still got to pay. So, I mean, I didn't want to make sure it was clear that at some point in 4 years, there's going to be a minor adjustment to the agreement.
We're comfortable with that,
Okay.
and we're comfortable with the language of the draft that was written.
Okay. All right, so Dave's going to do his research and get back to us, and I'm sure that it's going to probably end up being the same, because it sure sounds like between Daniel and Mike, they've already researched it, but I would like Dave to follow through on his. City of Manchester, contact and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, Lynn, if you could just keep in touch with us on when that letter's coming out, we'll have something to show.
Knowing the speed of light over here, it'll probably be tomorrow afternoon.
Don't hurt yourself, but that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Coming this way.
Don't forget your stuff, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Prepared.
All right. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is disposal of an excess vehicle. Corey, what do you have on that one?
So, our idea on selling the truck is we'd first like to try just to park it, if we can get permission from Lee Minnick to put it out where his office is on Route 114, with a for sale sign in it with a price of $18,000 or best offer. We've done a bunch of research to see what Kelly Blue Book, the Ford dealership, basically what a ballpark of what you're looking at for a price on that. And it all came out to 18 grand would be right in the middle for a fair cost of the truck.
And the more standard procedure for many of our other department vehicles is what?
Municipal. And we both feel, we track municipal bid to look at prices of things, and I think we will do better if we just sell it private sale and keep it off municipal bid, and just have municipal bid as a backup if for some reason we can't sell it.
Is that legal?
We own the vehicle, the commissioners own the vehicle, and the commissioners can do with it as they see fit. The truck does not have a title, a certificate of origin too, remember, never been titled. So, that's how all municipal vehicles are sold, with a certificate of origin. So it's not a titled motor vehicle.
New Hampshire doesn't.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, within so many years.
I think you get a title application. through the
Yeah.
state.
But just so you make it clear that when you're selling it, that it's got a certificate of origin. And you may want to check with the town clerk,
Oh, yeah, I'll talk.
and
to her.
you can at least give people advice on that
Mhm.
subject, on how to maneuver the titling.
Yeah, I'm sure Zeb's probably pretty versed in that as well.
Would the commissioners like to have Corey proceed with the private sale on the condition that he would then bring back to the commission the offer?
Yeah, sure.
So private sales are legal.
If we own the vehicle.
Yeah, it's different than if it were,
We
Like-
are,
Because like, I assume you send it out to auction kind of so that you reduce the chance of someone doing something, getting a good deal, giving someone like preferential treatment on a good deal on whatever it is.
well, that's why if you put it out to the general public in a very public spot, you're taking any sort of that away from it.
to Dan's point, we're beholden to the ratepayers, not to the taxpayers. Now, if a ratepayer had a problem with it, then we would probably have a problem. Right, Dan? Jim?
Sounds right.
So would municipal bid be the way to go, in someone else's opinion? And avoid the anguish? When you trade it in, it's different to the dealer.
I think you have a responsibility to get the best price you can with a reasonable amount of effort. I don't know that there's anything that said you have to do it in the municipal bid, as long as you get the best price for it, I think.
That's a good point too, if you can say like, oh, here's 3 similar trucks that have sold for this much, and you've got an offer that's 10%
We've heard-
more, or whatever. private offer.
We've heard Corey mention that he's done municipal auction bid research. A truck of your age, the age we're conditioning, would like to sell.
On municipal bid is
If you,
far less than.
if you had an
private sale.
$18,000 offer, we would come out
Ahead of the game.
very compatible to the auction or better.
Yeah, to try to get that at the auction, you have to put a minimum bid of $18,000, and then anyone can bid up from there.
At the municipal bid, you can put a minimum on it?
Yeah.
Do you have to sell it to the lowest bidder, or is that like a reserve?
That's the reserve, so, reserve.
What do you say, Darren? Maybe
But then if it
maybe
doesn't
that's
sell,
smart-
it just-
maybe that's a smarter way.
It doesn't sit, then if it doesn't sell, it just keeps sitting.
Yeah.
Can you try that, and then if it doesn't sell, take it out?
Yeah, it'll go for,
And then
I think
try
the
private
cycle
sale?
is like 1 month on the website.
I'm with Dan on getting in trouble with ratepayers and having someone complain that we sold it to, you know, your nephew or your buddy or something.
Yeah.
Then we look bad,
Sure, so we can do municipal bid.
with the minimum.
So I
With
would
a
like,
minimum.
I'm gonna disappear in 20 minutes.
Good.
So we need to conclude this discussion.
You can leave.
I know. Is there a motion on this act?
I make a motion to authorize Corey White to put these excess vehicle on municipal bid with a minimum bid of $18,000.
I'll second the motion.
The motion was to put the vehicle on a municipal auction site, minimum bid of 18,000. How do you vote?
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. East Pump,
Elm.
excuse me, Elm Street Pump Station. Yeah, Mike, change order number 4. What do you have for us?
Change order number 4 was never actually executed. What it does is provide a $2,500 credit for the electrical meter socket that was not installed because contractor just couldn't get the equipment in any reasonable time frame. And this is months and months and months.
That was the electrician? The electrician couldn't get it?
Yeah, the general contractor, but yeah, probably through its electrician. So he just provided a credit. And what I did is I added a spreadsheet with a final balancing of all the quantities, the unit price items on the contract. So that makes us the final closeout change order for the project.
Do we have that?
No, I didn't have that yet. He was bringing it tonight.
I did send
So,
it to you.
Did you?
Oh, Mike, I thought we closed out this Elm Street pump station a year ago.
Not officially, no.
And because why?
We were still waiting for,
That meter.
yeah,
meter
the
deal?
meter.
So
When's yours, Dave?
why were we replacing the meter in the first place?
As an upgrade, as part of the improvements to the pump station, since we did a pretty significant upgrade to the whole station, so.
They had to pull the old one off and move it to the new section of
Yeah.
the building. So they were just gonna replace it while doing that.
We also upgraded all the electrical in the station anyway. All of the electrical equipment, control panels, electrical panels, that kind of stuff, was all moved from the old part of the building, which was 1956, into the new building, and that was all upgraded with new equipment. So it made
The
sense
meter
to try to upgrade it.
is functional.
Mhm.
It was just old and it made sense to replace it, but since we
Mhm.
can't acquire a new one, we just stick with the old one until
Yeah,
the issue
and,
comes up.
you know, you can still try to order one
Yeah,
and get one.
and the meter socket that's there, there's nothing wrong with it. It's
Yeah.
actually really, it's not even that old, so.
Yeah.
So change order removes something to be installed,
The meter socket, yeah.
Yeah,
and
and there's,
therefore the
25.
contractual price decreases by 2,500.
correct.
Is there a motion on the change order?
We got other items that are in the final column, Mike, item not used, required, a bunch of items. Where did they all get deducted?
It was a unit price contract, so they were just never billed. And I would point out too that in the middle of that second page, it says allowance items, that most of those did not get used because they were allowance items.
So was the total contract with the original amount was $456,690, right?
Correct.
And then we did a change order by $135,556 to make a new number make the new number 59246. Now,
There were 4 change orders.
but when you look at the cost difference for items not used, why does 93,851 appear at the bottom of that column?
Because of change order number 1.
109,000. Yeah. And then change order two
And then
added
two.
21,000.
Right. Change order 3 was never executed. That was additional paving, and that was just covered through the pavement items that were already in the contract anyway. So there was no need to actually execute a change order for that.
I'm just curious.
So the
I'm just curious how- I'm just curious
93,000
how-
is the net bottom line difference.
I'm curious how we have a total contract that included all those items that weren't used, yet I don't see them deducted from the contract amount. Were those items that were to be added if necessary, or were they in the original contract, Mike?
No, they were in the
They
original
were-
contract, but they weren't used.
Well, then why didn't the original contract get reduced by
It did,
93,000?
but it also increased because of other change order items.
The items not used are much less than the change order that increased the contract.
Correct.
It looks, it's hard to understand.
Yeah, I mean, change order 1, for example, that's the force main lining.
Yep.
That was $109,500, so that's a pretty significant change.
Yeah,
to
that
the
was a big
contract.
That'd be done.
Yeah, the cost difference column, so that that shows all of the changes. And if you go down, you got like 7,500, 1,000, 200.
Mhm.
Then you got plus 2,000, plus 2,600, so on, and then you got plus 109,000, plus 20,000. So
Right.
ultimately, it all totaled up to an additional 93,000.
Correct. And that's why I included the spreadsheet.
Once again, how does the commission feel about change order number 4, reducing?
Dave, stop pushing this. I'm not
No.
done with this. If you gotta go, you gotta go, but we're gonna talk about this until we're done talking.
Well, I thought we had finished.
No, we
Sorry,
haven't.
I'm sorry.
Corey, were you satisfied with the electrical work? There was no problems with the electrician's work?
For the most part, no.
Nothing that warrants a $2,500 rebate for problems or inconvenience, or all the times the panel went off and the alarms went on and all that baloney that went with that?
I
And that got fixed?
That got fixed, yeah. We've run into another issue with the panel overheating, which I think we found was, we found the issue when we were in contact with Sherbon about that. They're getting more information because the way the panel is mounted against the wall, one of the relays gets hot.
So that's an unresolved issue that has to be fixed at their expense.
They're trying to get information from Gorman Rupp, I think, on the panel to figure out if there should be a fan or something inside of it. We adjusted the temperature inside of the building, and we haven't had issues with it since, but it was an issue. And we did have other issues with relays in the panel that it was going off weekly. We're running down there, usually after hours.
Yeah, overtime, 3
Overtime.
hours a clip.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
But those-
I'm not really satisfied with releasing. Do we have any, are we holding back any money at this point, Mike? Do we have
Yeah.
any, how much?
Yeah, payment application 5 is for the balance of the retainage that you're holding, which is $8,560.
Then I won't vote to approve the retainage release.
Well, are we, that's not up for another year? Do we, when is there a 1-year warranty?
Yeah,
When does that
Yeah, and I
start?
don't think that's even done until like September.
Yeah.
It's
think so.
late
August or
summer,
September.
early, yeah, August or
Oh.
September.
So we already voted for substantial completion, and that
This problem,
started it.
yeah, this last problem arose about a month and a half ago.
I'm glad it happened within the warranty period. But I don't think we should be even Steven with the contractor, because he has no reason to come back and fix it if we're even Steven. We gotta have something on them so that they will come back and fix it.
Yeah, they know about it, it's a known issue, and they're still in their hands under the 1-year warranty, so.
It isn't going to affect change order 4. It
No.
will affect the payment application, obviously.
I'm happy to pay we owe them, but I want the retainage held
Yeah.
until the end of the 1 year. Because, were they asking for the retainage to be released?
That's pay app number 5, yeah.
Well,
That's next
well,
action.
we certainly wouldn't release that until the warranty period anyway,
Right,
September.
correct.
Okay, so pay app number 5. All right, Dave?
So you want a motion on number 4, on the, change order number 4?
Yeah, for the credit for the meter socket.
Yeah.
I make a motion to grant the request for a credit for the meter socket for $2,500.
So approve change order number 4.
I'll second the motion.
And we fully discussed change order number 4. I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
So then we're gonna hold the retainage until at least September, or until the problem is fixed, because it's within warranty, they have to fix it within the warranty period. Even if it goes beyond the warranty period,
Correct.
it has to be fixed.
Yep.
Because if they're aware of the issue, so
Yeah, Rob from Shervon
Then-
knows about it.
then,
I'm sure Rob will fix it, but
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
hurt-
great.
it doesn't hurt to have leverage.
do you have an email with them? Like, is it documented?
I could document it, more just phone calls. Whenever we have an issue, we just call Rob directly, because he'll drop what he's doing and come up to try to help us figure it out, so. I can email Joe with that information.
Yes, sir.
Provide a copy.
Yeah.
I was busy signing. Were you all discussing
Yes.
application number 5?
No, application 5, we're not paying it.
That's not there. Corey, give us information about the monthly emergency calls.
We didn't have it.
Very
Good for
short
you,
and sweet.
Corey. Keith.
Good job.
And a drain layer license, the application. We're in the middle of several sessions discussing a review of that.
It basically comes down to whether you guys want to increase the fee from $10 and raise it up to either match what Manchester does or something different. Manchester's $50 every time somebody comes in for a renewal or a new application.
So is a $50 a license for a year, or for 5 years, or
1
for
year.
life?
1 year.
1 year license.
1 year.
I wonder why Manchester's so high. And we're at 10, right?
We're at 10.
Because you got my check still, and I haven't got
For
my
life,
license
right?
back.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right.
Ours is 10 for life, right?
No, ours is $10 a year.
$10 a year.
$10 a year.
See, we used to have to, with the old dynamic duo here, Mike and Mike, they made you renew every year, or you couldn't get your license back.
Well, Mike, I talked to Mike a year ago, and he said he
Well, then
never
why did
it
he
that
ask
way.
us for a check every year?
He said he would, if somebody came in, or he would remind people via email to renew their license because theirs was expired, is how he did it.
I wonder if we shouldn't consider a license that is good for the life of your life, and you just pay for it once, and as long as you're listed with you as a licensed drain layer, you can do work in town.
That seems like it makes sense to me.
the yearly, the expiration allows for like updated contact info, I guess.
You don't get to keep your septic license unless you pay for it every
5.
not 5,
That was 5.
3, and take classes.
Yeah, continuing education.
So why don't you come back to us with another thought, Corey?
Got it.
whether we want to do a one-shot license or a 5-year license or something. But we need to tighten it up and not just be a town where if the guy needs to do a job and he doesn't do one for 5 years, he can just pop in and get his license renewed.
Yeah, when I talk to Manchester, they're the same way. They don't make you renew it if you're gonna do a job in town. If you don't do one in 10 years, they
Just forget about you
just
for 10
forget
years?
about you. When you come in, you pay the $50 again.
Okay, sounds good, thank you, Corey.
That concludes our old business.
You have a warrant for us to sign?
No, I just got stuff in the mail today, so I'll probably have one at the end of the week or beginning of next week.
You want a motion, Dave?
Just one moment.
Okay.
But under authorizations, drain layer applications. I
We don't
thought-
have any.
No, there is none.
Yep.
But I thought, okay, change of subject. I thought there was Tim, you wanted to look at the form itself, how one would fill out the form? or
That's,
we-
I've been talking to Corey about this one-on-one, trying to get something, what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Because it seems very lax. And, you know, it seems like they have the advantage over us, and I don't like them having the advantage over us. It's our system, they want to
I
do.
want to back up and clarify. Were you interested in the form itself one
No.
would fill out, or you were interested in the amount?
I might have been at one time, but I lost my
Okay.
vision.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hate to put thoughts in your mind.
You can't do that. It's solid concrete. You want the motion now?
Yes,
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
any vote on this motion?
Yay.
Aye.
Aye.
Goffstown TV, we've concluded our monthly session. Thank you.